This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party Live. I saw you, Wes. You said go. Sue Ann said start. Enough information for me to forge ahead. So starting just a touch early, and it is the After Party Live on a Hide in Your Cave Monday. And today we'll be checking out some wine caves. And I know we've done that in the past, but I saw some really cool ones that I think you guys are going to like. Specifically, a chandelier cave that has it's got a chandelier that looks like it's hanging from a tree. Really, really cool. So we'll check that out in just a few moments. But also, I saw this story, kind of a sad story, an unbelievable story, a frightening horror story that, that I wanted to share with you because it's like your worst nightmare. You know, you go to these places and people will try to say, oh, let's go bungee cord jumping. Oh, it sounds so fun. And we're being adventurous. And you think, oh, they know what they're doing. These people have been helping people, fly off bridges for years and years and years. Except for in this case, it didn't. It didn't work out. Let me show you this before we get there. I've been having problems voting. I don't know why, but for some reason, I think the system is stalled. This is for the Audiocaster of the Year, put on by the Bay Area Historical Radio Society. Bay Area Radio Historical. I think I mixed it up. But thank you to the After Party Live voters. We're now at 13%, 10,000, is it 597 votes? We're closing in on Aaron Axelson from Live 105. That's for sure. I think we can do it. Although I think the system is down. Have you guys been having trouble voting? Because I've been having some trouble. Maybe it's just me. Yeah, Yvonne says Kim's at 13%. The person above is at 14%. We got to get voting. I would love you guys to vote. I will put the link in the chat for the vote, and I'll try to return to the ballot. Here's what happens when I vote. And let me put the link in the chat first so that anybody who would like to can go ahead and vote. And there it is. And thank you for voting. And again, it's one of these things where you can vote as many times as you want all the way up through July 1st, except for I'm having trouble. Here's what happens when I vote. Let's see. I'll vote for the After Party Live and submit it. And it says there was a problem with your submission. Please review the fields below. So I don't know what I've done wrong. There are no fields below. There it is. The Bay Area Radio Museum. For the Bay Area Audiocaster of the Year. So I've been having trouble voting. Maybe you'll have better luck than I, but thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. Look at this. Here comes a super chat from Glenn. He says, at work, but love to all here tomorrow. Aw, thanks, Glenn. We appreciate that. And thank you for the Australian bucks. Really, really cool. Okay, to this story. I'm not going to play the video for you because it's kind of morbid, but I will show you the moment. Okay, so there it is. I'm not going to play. If I hit play on this, the video will come up, and I don't want to do that. But this woman died after being thrown off a bridge. The bungee cord was not secured. It happened in Brazil. The three men that were facilitating the bungee jumps have been arrested with this incident that happened on the Skeleton Bridge Trail in Limeira, Brazil. The lady wanted to be thrown off the bridge like she was Superman flying. So they hoisted her up and they chucked her over the bridge, and she fell more than 130 feet to her death. She was 21 years old. She wanted to be a teacher, and her bungee cord was not connected. Nope. No proper bungee cord equipment here. She was standing at the edge of this cliff wearing a helmet. Again, you see her arms outstretched. Three men lift her up. Two of them throw her off the cliff. She is unattached to the bungee cord as she falls 130 feet to the ground below. The police report says at the time of the jump, the safety equipment was not properly fixed. The victim did not resist the fall, and death was confirmed by the emergency medical team. And it remains at this point unclear why the bungee cord was not properly secured before this woman was thrown off. When the police initially went out there, they brought 6 people back. 3 were arrested. I mean, I don't think they intended to kill her. This is, to me, more of a negligent homicide type of thing than you know, I don't know how they classify murders in Brazil, but less of a murder one and more of a manslaughter case in America. I mean, they must feel awful and stupid, but these things can happen. I just, you know, here she is thinking, waiting for the point where her cord snaps back, and it just never comes. That had to be horrible. So that happened. Yeah, really scary, right? Yeah, Wes says horrible. No bungee for Tammy. Absolutely not. No rope on her at all. You would think someone would have noticed. God. Yvonne says you can be killed jumping into water too, depending on the impact and how far it is. Yeah, I don't know. All right, we'll move forward because I have another story to show you and talk to you about. And this one also involves some skydiving things, but in this case, it's a skydiver who managed to do something kind of interesting, and that is complete a Rubik's Cube. You think of all the things you have to think about as you're falling from the sky. This guy solved 2 Rubik's Cubes while he was skydiving. In doing so, broke a world record. It was a Guinness World Record. His name is Ishan Hadkar. He's 24. He says he's been solving Rubik's Cube puzzles since the age of 10. Went skydiving for the first time over Oceanside, California, trying to attempt the Guinness World Record for the most rotating puzzle cubes solved in a single skydive. I don't even know where they come up with these categories. His first attempt, which was also his first ever jump from a plane, ended prematurely. He said, I had no idea what to expect or how it would feel. During my first record attempt, which was also my first ever skydive, one of my cubes broke midair, but I didn't want to give up. So I got on the next plane, attempted the record again the very next minute. He solves 2 cubes before he lands on the ground from 13,000 feet to successfully take the record on his second attempt. And he said it was definitely challenging, especially with no prior skydiving experience. The weather was windy and cloudy. On top of that, you're dealing with speeds of about 120 miles per hour during free fall. He said, I still used the same solving technique I used on land, but I had to hold the cube much tighter than usual because of the wind force. So he's now the world record holder for the most cube puzzles solved during a skydiving attempt. He said he had solved the first cube in free fall and the second under the parachute. And with records, he says there's never really an end. Right after my landing, my first thought was, I could have probably solved 5 cubes in the air. But he said, I'm thrilled to have the record approved by the Guinness World Records, and it feels like a major milestone in my 14-year cubing journey. So there he is. I don't know if you saw this story about the new way that we will be able to have our temperatures measured. And I don't know who said it earlier before the show started. Make sure the thermometer you're eating isn't a rectal thermometer. That's kind of the whole point of this, is that there will be no need for rectal thermometers anymore. It will be done because they will have your inner temperature after you swallow this little guy seen in the bottom left, this little pill here about the size of a raspberry, and you swallow it and off it goes into the wild blue yonder of your body. You have to eat it. They developed this sensor temperature, berry temperature, uh, at MIT. And they like it because it continuously monitors your temperature from inside your body. And having it shoved up the wazoo is not exactly a pleasant experience. And it turns out that we might not have to go through that anymore. So this new ingestible sensor was developed at MIT. And once you swallow it, it sends doctors a continuous body temperature reading from your GI tract. They're going to put it toward clinical trials, they think, in a year or two. The researchers say continuous monitoring like this could make it easier to determine whether a patient is sick, if they're at risk of developing dangerously high fevers. It can help for people tracking their fertility or those under anesthesia as well. It's shaped like a small berry, 4 millimeters high, 6 millimeters around, smaller than existing ingestible temperature sensors. They published a study on it today in the journal Nature Electronics. They said a sensor like this gives us the ability to monitor infections and identify them early. It's relevant, particularly for at-risk populations like people who are immunosuppressed from chemotherapy treatments or immunosuppressive drugs. There are some ingestible temperature sensors already on the market, many of them the size of a multivitamin or maybe larger, and it makes them a little challenging for people to swallow. It can also increase the risk that your GI tract could be obstructed. They have to make it a little bigger because there's a complex internal circuit thing going on inside of them, and that requires power. The power comes from onboard batteries that take up the bulk of the capsule's space. In this case, the MIT team designed smaller ingestible sensors that can measure temperature accurately. They say the reason for them to be small is because they want them to be safe. Something so small that the risk of any blockage or obstruction is highly mitigated, and it can be easily ingested as well. What the things they had to do to get it smaller is to reduce the size of the three main components: the temperature sensing circuit, the antenna that relays the temperature data, and then the battery. And they shrank it. They built one of their own that can fit onto a 1 square millimeter silicon chip. They designed an oscillator based on the leakage current to reduce power consumption. That's the small current that flows through a circuit when it's switched off. They say this circuit can detect temperature with an accuracy of 0.01 degrees Celsius. It requires 10 nanowatts of power, and it can be powered with a small 1.5 volt coin cell battery that's only 4.8 millimeters around. So they've done some animal trials with this, and they say it seems to work really well, that it has wide applications as well. So, yeah, they're going to test it, and that may be the way we get our temperature taken in the future. Here, swallow this. Let's go. This is not what you want to find. If you're a real estate agent, I would think this would be pretty horrifying. This real estate agent in Arkansas went to this house, and hopefully she saw this snake on the outside, because when she got on the inside, she found this place overrun with snakes. I don't know why I'm thinking of Indiana Jones and the pit, the snake pit. This Arkansas real estate agent shows up to a scheduled showing of this home for sale, and she finds some squatters living inside along with a large number of snakes. I shouldn't say she, it was a he, Christopher White of Century 21. He arrives to show this property to some potential buyers. That's going to be a no on that house. I mean, I said I wanted to fix her upper, but no. He said, when I first got to the house, I was treating it as business as usual. I got out of my truck, walked around the home, got back in my truck to look at the information for the house. That's when I looked over at the porch. He said he captured video of snakes by the front door, handing in the eaves, hiding in an old electric panel as well. He said, I had to tell my buyer I was absolutely not going to show this house. The snakes were identified as non-venomous black rat snakes, which are valued by farmers for keeping pests like mice and rats under control. And this house has got a lot of issues. No, absolutely not. But speaking of rats, yikes. I wanted to talk to you about this story that I found out of the San Francisco Chronicle. I don't know if you saw this. This person in Berkeley died because they were living in a rat infested RV. More than 200 rats found in this RV, to the point where they just had to take it away and destroy the RV. It was done. So many rats, so dangerous. I didn't realize this was, I mean, I knew that these creatures could carry disease, but I didn't realize it was so dangerous. And you've heard hantavirus is spread from rat feces in an infected rat, right? In this case, it has to do with the urine of the rat. The rats had been carrying leptospirosis, and they had been seen around this homeless encampment rather, on the city's corridor along Harrison Street. And I guess they just got inside this RV and bred and had little rat babies. This RV severely infested with rats. There were 2 people living in here. One of them has died. Another has been treated, and after a lengthy hospitalization survived this. The first person died shortly after being hospitalized. In Berkeley, the city officials are calling this an extreme situation, where vector control crews removed about 200 rats from this RV before they just towed it away and destroyed it. It was parked about a mile from the Harrison Street encampment. Dr. Peter Chin Hong, we know him from UCSF. He said the more rats you have, the more urine you might have, and you increase the chance of at least one of the rats having the infection. Dr. Peter Chin Hong telling SF Gate, if you had just one rat, it's like playing rat roulette. He said the case illustrates a paradox of leptospirosis. It can be life-threatening if missed, but it's generally treatable when identified early. He said no one should die of this. It's a bacteria. It's treatable by antibiotics that every hospital has. The challenge is that many doctors rarely encounter this disease, and the patients often don't seek care during the early stages of it as well. And then it gets misdiagnosed. It's not something very common in the Bay Area. He said you have to diagnose it or suspect it to treat it right away. Leptospirosis spread through contact with the urine of infected animals, especially rats. The bacteria can enter the body through the eyes, nose, mouth, or breaks in the skin. And the symptoms begin with a fever, chills, headache, muscle aches, nausea, and vomiting before more severe disease progresses. And you start having your kidneys and liver and lungs and other organs affected. It's a 2-part illness. He said the early phase is kind of flu-like symptoms, and that's when you got to catch it. It can appear anywhere from 2 to 30 days after the exposure. So, gotta keep that problem at bay. I don't know, in a homeless encampment like this, how you keep the rats at bay. You have to have, I mean, it's even, I know we've thrown a lot of money at the homeless problem, but it just seems so awful, the people dying of this when it's so preventable. The Berkeley's city is updating the human cases occurred outside the geographic risk zone that they'd established earlier this year. And now they're abandoning those zones and they're shifting to a broader strategy, focusing on living conditions that facilitate the transmission. So, yikes. Dr. Peter Chin Hong says people shouldn't be panicked, but it is a wake-up call that this is in our backyard. Mm, really sad. There was a fireball that lit up the sky over 15 US states, flew right over the middle of Tennessee, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, South Carolina, Texas. Happened at about 10:30 p.m. Central Time Sunday. At least 15 states, people in 15 states reporting seeing this. Some witnesses said it appeared to break apart before disappearing from view, and the object is believed to have been a meteor, not space debris. The path of the fireball is being analyzed to determine whether any fragments may have survived entry and may have made contact with the ground. But I have some video I think I can show you. Oops. Kind of see the whole sky light up green. And here's what it looks like. Let me take down our RVs and show you what it looks like.
Hi, these are some videos from the Lynchburg and Woodbury areas around 10:30 last night. Check it out. You can see it flying across the sky there. What a sight to see that fireball. My goodness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oops.
It was an incredible sight to be able to see this here take place. So you've got to check your cameras outside because you may have captured this. You may have certainly seen this. I think you'll want to look in the west and northwest sky. I believe this is probably where your better viewing of that will be. This was really interesting. I want to talk a little bit more about.
And so that's what it looked like. That was interesting. Yeah, a little fireball streaking across the sky there. Something else seen, although not in the sky, under the ground. Another excavation leads to another interesting discovery in Europe, right alongside a major thoroughfare. Look at that. This construction company in Germany revealed what is called the princely grave of a Celtic warrior. The warrior buried with weapons and a two-wheeled wagon right off the freeway. Archaeologists say the find proves the previously only assumed presence of a local Celtic elite. In addition to the wagon and remnants of weapons, they found gold jewelry and a jug imported from modern-day Tuscany, showing this person, whoever was buried here, is very important. A high-ranking Celt buried in what is now Hessen, Germany, laid to rich with a rich array of grave goods, including gold jewelry. And I have pictures of that. Looks like bands that were worn around the neck and the fingers and the arm. There's the golden jewelry that they found. And that's not all they found looking in this grave. An Etruscan jug, a two-wheeled wagon. And based on the assortment of items found in this grave, experts think it once held the remains of an elite male warrior. They found the burial while conducting excavations. They were trying to construct a solar farm. And instead, here's what they find. The wagon, accompanied by a wheel hub fitting, iron wheel rim fittings, and metal axle caps. Just 3 comparable burials have been recorded in this Hessen area to date, but none come close to the quality of this grave that has newly been identified. They say the funerary goods recovered here speak to the deceased's wealth and status. They found the solid gold rings the man likely wore on his fingers, arms, and neck. Also a beak-spouted jug that may have been imported from present-day Tuscany, Italy. There are no bone fragments or teeth to survive, so they're basing their proposed identification of the grave's owner on the artifacts that had been buried alongside him. Weapons like spearheads and a knife as well. Interesting. The grave dates to about the same period as the Glauberg prince, which is a life-size sandstone statue discovered in a burial mound in 1996. And they say both are associated with the Latene culture, which thrived in Central and Western Europe, roughly 450 and 50 BCE. But the differences between, they say, these two princes remain. The Glauberg leader was buried with more valuable grave goods than this one, but both lived in the hierarchical Celtic society governed by wealthy elites. Archaeologists have just excavated a small section of this site so far, but they say X-rays and CT scans suggest more grave goods are still hidden underground. And they have to evaluate the things they've already found. It's just so interesting that life is going on and cars are whizzing by, and all of this has been right there all along. So interesting. If you saw this story about the world's largest soccer ball, I know everyone's like, soccer, soccer, soccer right now. But I know this is kind of a cool picture. This is a huge soccer ball. As a matter of fact, it's the world's largest soccer ball in celebration of everything going on. This is in Massachusetts, the world's largest soccer ball. And it broke a Guinness World Record. It measures 47.9 feet in diameter. It's sitting in Piers Park 2 in East Boston, and it has been approved by Guinness World Records, officially taking the title of the world's largest soccer ball from a 39.98 foot ball that was created in Qatar in 2013. This ball was made in Ohio, celebrates the FIFA World Cup games that are being played at Boston Stadium in June and July, and it will be on display to the public until June 18th. And then the materials used to create the ball will be recycled. I don't know why you would do that. Why don't you put it on display and put it in the, in the stadium behind glass or something, or as a display? Why take it away and melt it down? It's interesting enough to keep it around. I have a Lotto of the Day story for you as well. This lottery win was for a Virginia man, and it's one of these moments where you win one prize and you think, I'm going to let this ride. I mean, it hasn't happened to me personally, but that strategy has not worked out for me yet. This man won $100 from a lottery ticket, and he took $5 of that 100 and he bought a scratch-off ticket. And that scratch-off ticket got him a $100,000 prize. His name is William. He said he scored 100 from a ticket at the Food Lion store and decided to use the winnings on groceries. And afterward, he had $5 left over after shopping. So he stopped back at the lottery vending machine, bought a cash wheel scratch-off ticket. He scratched off the ticket before he left the store and was shocked to reveal a $100,000 top price. He said he recalled thinking, this can't be right. He said it was a long night before he could claim his prize the next day. He only got 2 hours of sleep. To celebrate, he said the prize money serves as an early anniversary gift. He and his wife will be celebrating 50 years of marriage later in the summer. Who knows? Maybe they'll take a little trip to do something like that. That was a good $5 win, $5 expenditure. All right, it's time for Hide in Your Cave Monday. Let's go. Let's go hide in some caves. And today we'll be headed to some incredible wineries. Really, really beautiful wineries. The first one, to make this bigger, is the Stag's Leap Cellar. Just beautiful. The wineries that are listed here are all Napa Valley wineries. So they're not in our in Sonoma County where I'm located, But that's okay. We'll give the folks in Napa a break. They do have some really pretty caves, I will say. Now let's see if I can take pictures down and do all the things I need to do. There it is. Okay, so here's the first one. And this is the, my apologies. This is the Stag's Leap wine cellar. That's what you're looking at here. They make some of the most famous Cabernets in the Napa Valley, and they have a 34,000 square foot underground cave system where the tunnels are lined with barrels, and there's a pendulum that swings overhead. There's a private chamber for guided tasting with artisanal cheese and charcuterie. And they call it one of Napa Valley's most distinctive cave tours, blending science, history, and sensory delight. We're off next to the Schramsberg Vineyards. Check out this one. It looks so old, doesn't it? And yet I don't think it is. Oh, it is. History dating back to the 19th century. Schramsberg, home to Napa's most storied sparkling wines. They have a labyrinth of caves at Schramsberg that were chiseled into the volcanic hillsides in 1870. The tunnels are cool, and they house thousands of bottles undergoing traditional method aging. The tours will take you through dimly lit caves before concluding with a guided tasting of sparkling cuvées. This is in Calistoga off Schramsberg Road. The next one is at Far Niente Winery, which looks amazing. Look at that chandelier. It makes it look so fancy in there when they put those chandeliers up in the cave. Far Niente, 40,000 square feet of wine caves, dimly lit tunnels with hundreds of French oak barrels sit beneath a 3-tiered chandelier with a dramatic iron gate separating the cave section, housing their infamous Dolce wine barrels. You can take a tour here, along with the maintained gardens and estate, and go into the caves as well. Here's the Inglenook Winery. They look happy there. At Inglenook, they don't often offer public cave tours. They do have extensive underground cellar facilities, though. And you can make a special appointment to take a tour of the cellar facilities and look at the process where they create the wines there. That's Inglenook. This next one has a serious wow factor. Check out this amazing chandelier. It looks like the root system of a tree. I'm gonna make that a little bit, zoom out. Just incredible. This is the whole reason I wanted to go to these wine caves with you today. This is Hall's Rutherford Winery. They've got a 14,000 square foot wine cave lined with historic Austrian bricks. So you go in the cave, you get some small bites and world-class wines beneath what is called a Chilean red chandelier. It's designed to mimic underground vine roots, and boy, does it ever. The cave's cool, consistent environment is essential to aging these sought-after wines. From the stunning surrounds of the chandelier room, you can taste wines from the exclusive Platinum Collection, paired with seasonal bites from the renowned La Toque restaurant. What a sight that is. Just beautiful. I mean, wow. That chandelier is amazing to me. Here's another one. It's called the Deldado Estate Wine Caves. And it's pretty nice. Take a look at this one. I'll make it a little bigger. They're doing the chandelier thing there too. They're famous for their caves at Del Dotto Estate Winery and Caves. These are hand-dug caves dating back to 1885. The more elaborate Venetian marble caves at the Estate Del Dotto, they offer several dynamic cave experiences. They have the immersive cave experience and barrel tasting, where you can get a comparative tasting pairing richly oaked wines with house-made pizza in what they call an atmosphere of old world elegance. It's an opulent setting unlike anything else in Napa. These people, they did it right. Look at the I love that they add a waterfall in their cave. Thank you for that. This is really nice. This one is the Jarvis Estate. It is America's only fully cave-based winery, featuring 45,000 square feet of cave tunneled into the Vaca Mountains. The underground waterfall, their most spectacular feature. They say the waterfall helps maintain ideal humidity levels for barrel aging. And when you go to the Jarvis Estate, you can wander through the oak fermenting tanks, have a seated tasting of exclusive estate wines. They call it a rare subterranean indulgence. I'm just going to hang out by the waterfall. Really cool. Then there's the Pine Ridge. They don't take us inside the cave at Pine Ridge. We get to stand outside with these people. The entrance is really cool, though. This is Pine Ridge cellar. They have caves, European-inspired caves, 130 feet underground, surrounded by aging barrels. Estate Cabernets in there. They have plush chairs and redwood tables and Persian rugs and soft lighting. And the caves here at Pine Ridge stretch more than 32,000 square feet of passageways. It's dramatic and purposeful. And they say the stable environment enhances aging while wrapping wines in the story of Stag's Leap. Beautiful. Here's another entrance. This one is for Fantasy, F-A-N-T-E-S, Fantasca, my apologies. Yeah, it's Fantasca. And there it is. You can go in there, hang out, get out of the heat. During a private tour at Fantasca, you head inside the cave, which, by the way, is a former silver mine. It extends about 300 feet underground on Spring Mountain. And after you check out the caves and the scenic vineyard, you head back to the winery for an intimate tasting. Really beautiful. Check out Caldwell Vineyard. Now that's fancy. Caldwell Vineyard is about 600 feet above the valley floor. It's a 123-acre vineyard, home to a 20,000 square foot underground cave. Bohemian Magazine voted this the best wine cave. You get a private and personalized cave tasting that highlights their wine in this setting surrounded by exposed volcanic caldera rock. Each sip, carefully paired with cheese and charcuterie, tells a story reflective of the surrounding hillside terroir. This, by the way, from napavalley.com. Which cave do you want to hide in? I like this one a lot, but I think the cave I have to go back to is the one with the really cool chandelier. Oh, the waterfall one, I don't know. That's nice too, but it has to be this one, don't you think? With this tree root thing going on, I think that's the one where I'm hanging out. Look at that place. Amazing. Going to the chat. Have you been to any of these? What do you think? Used to be a wine snob. Reds give me a bad headache now unless they're sulfite free. Although it is naturally occurring. We do love waterfalls, says Gordon. Yes, we do. Hilo Karen says Frog's Leap Winery was a play on Stag's Leap, and its motto is, or was, time's fun when you're having flies. That's funny. Yvonne says, please hit the like button before you drink wine, beer, etc. Thank you, Yvonne. Please do click the like button. I like pink Zinfandel, says Gordon. I won't turn down white wine. Yeah, cool entrance. I love that. I love that. I'm just mesmerized by that tree root chandelier. Really cool. It is spectacular. And when you're in these wine caves, you really feel like you're in a whole nother world. Really cool. All right, that is the show. Huge thank you to Glenn, who comes in with $2 Australian, which is so appreciated and so awesome. Really appreciate Glenn coming through and throwing down a couple Australian bucks. And still, it feels very, I don't know the word. It feels very far off, far flung to get the Australian dollars. Not the word I'm looking for, but that'll have to do. Thank you also to Wes, who throws in American dollars today. We appreciate the American dollars. Thank you, Glenn. Wes, who throws in 5. I get my people confused here. Thank you to Wes for the contribution today. Vanessa P set up a recurring PayPal payment once a month, just pops right in. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Scott R, Yvonne B, Amy S. Huge thank you guys. The show could not carry on without you, and I just really appreciate your generosity so very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's going to be a really good Mark Thompson show tomorrow. We've got Tom Hartman coming through, David K. Johnston coming through, and hope you'll join us 11:30-ish Pacific time for the Mark Thompson show tomorrow, and then we're right back here for Travel Tuesday, after party style. We'll do that tomorrow as well. But for now, make it the very best rest of your Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow right back here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Ricky, huge hug to you. I'm holding you in my heart.